one might say, Mo, well, I mean, if they're looking for a black,
Big, go ahead and say it. Shannon so careful with his words. He want to say fat black woman. If the role looking for a fat black woman, Mo, but he was like,
but I want to keep my podcast, Mo. Y'all ain't finna cancel me.
This why we love you, Uncle Shay Shay, because we want you to say it, a fat black woman. Now, me and Oprah fit the damn description, Shay. Fat black. Don't we fit it?
You do.
Hey, it's your girl Ebony, 1/4 of We Ain't Them. And before we begin, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. So, I know y'all have heard about Monique's interview with Club Shay Shay. She recently spoke to Shannon Sharpe, and my God, she spilled so much tea. So much tea. Shit. My bad. But yeah, she spilled so much tea, my cup runneth over, literally. Okay? So, I mean, I have so much to say about it. And to be honest, I commend her. I commend my girl Monique for going on to Club Shay Shay, speaking with Shannon Sharpe, and like literally speaking her truth. And honestly, I've been seeing a pattern of this for quite some time now. I truly believe, and so many people have said this, that we are currently in the age of Aquarius. You know, and I've been seeing this from the end of 2023. I mean, starting with Cassie and Diddy and all of these allegations with so many powerful people. And for those of you who don't know, like, the age of Aquarius is basically one part where, like, once we get out of the age of Pisces, you know, we will eventually, things will be exposed. All the secrets of the elites and you know, the higher ups, all of those things will come down. The falling down of Hollywood, everything, the secrets will be exposed, and we are beginning to see it. You know, I've heard, like I said, I've heard so many people say that, and now I truly believe it. And I want to commend Monique for speaking her truth, and as they say nowadays, she stood on business. Okay? And she spoke on multiple topics, from Oprah Winfrey and how she was treated during, you know, the whole thing with Precious, to Tyler Perry spreading a rumor about her, to people in the industry smiling in her face, giving her, pretending to lend out a lending hand and just snatch it away from her. You know, the trials and tribulations she went through as a child with her family and why she's not so close to them. And, you know, her relationship with her husband, and just explaining that so much. And child, Monique, when I tell you, she went in on so many people. She went in, like I said, on Tyler, on Oprah, and she went in on Tiffany. And rightfully fucking so. Yeah, I said it, rightfully fucking so. My thing is with Tiffany, right? I was a little younger when that interview came out with GQ, and she said, you know, I don't have a husband like that, and, you know, I don't do business like Monique. Monique had every right to say what she had to say. And, you know, she also relayed, like, when it came to, you know, people speaking on her husband. You know, Tiffany doesn't have a husband. Last time I checked Oprah, I don't know what she's doing with Stedman. That's none of my business. But last time I checked, she doesn't have a husband either. And a lot of us who have had critiques about Sydney in the past, we've said stuff. You know, people have had their things to say about Sydney. And, you know, I will say this, you know, just going on from Tiffany to, of course, her husband, and how she talked about, you know, how they met and got together. And, you know, this was somebody, she's been through 2 other marriages, I believe, and why this one means the most to her, and how she views her husband as this beautiful black king. Now, I just want to jump really quickly into perspective versus perception. And the way Sydney was perceived by many, me included, he was perceived as somebody that is like all up in the videos, all up in everything she does, all up in the interviews, being her mouthpiece, and she just going, yes, daddy, yes, daddy, yes, daddy. And it just came off very submissive. And there's nothing wrong with submission, right? If you're submitting to the right person, right? But it just came off the perception of Sydney to everyone on the outside looking in was just like, he's just her mouthpiece. He wants to be involved with everything. And he's not putting in half the work that Monique is putting in. She's the bread and butter. She's the brand. She's the one with the career here. You know, he's her manager, but it's like, okay, you're her manager, but what else do you do? You know, that is how people perceived him. And the fact that he always just used to speak for her and everything, nobody was looking at it. Nobody perceived Sydney the way Monique did. And of course, rightfully so, that's her husband. So hearing her perspective go against our perception of him really opened up a lot of eyes and cleaned out a lot of ears. You know, her saying, you know, how is it as a society we have came to this point in our lives where it's like, you see a black man standing beside his black woman and saying, well, why is he there? Why does he need to be there? You know, I am not married yet. So, and to be honest, as somebody who's in a committed relationship, who is engaged, I am no longer in the business of telling other people what to do with their relationship. I'm really not. And I think we need to get out of this, especially as a people, as black people, I think we need to get out of this mindset of telling people what to do with their relationship. Oh, he's not good. We need to get, like, I feel like in dire straits, it's needed. Of course, if you see your friend being abused or whatever, of course, jump the fuck in. But at the end of the day, people gonna do what they want to do, unfortunately. And sometimes it's not always good. But sometimes, as we say in the Caribbean, who don't hear will feel, right? So you got to leave that shit alone. So that's one thing that I did want to discuss, is just the perspective of Sydney versus the perception of Sydney, which, you know, I think Monique provided very good insight on that. Now, I'm still on the fence as to what she was saying because, you know, at the end of the day, you know, how you see your husband may not be how everybody, you know, sees him, and that's not, you know, that's not our business. That's not our business at all. And you have to also understand with Monique is 56. Monique is from a different generation than us, so there's just a lot of things that the woman of today may not want to tolerate that she probably would. I don't know. You gotta let people do what they want to do, you know. But I understand what she was saying. She has a partner that is supportive. She has a partner that's always going to stand by her side, especially if he sees that his woman is being done wrong. And I do believe that a lot of us as women yearn for that. We want that. And I'm not going to deny that. I don't think anybody else should, really, to be quite honest. Another thing I want to touch on, you know, like I said, Monique stood on business. She doesn't care what she feels. She stood on her word. Like, her word is bond. This is how she feels.
I said what I said.
You know, the whole thing with the bonnet situation, and, you know, I will say this. It goes back to, you know, the fact that Monique is of a different generation than a lot of us, you know. Some of us are not too far behind her, but she's auntie, and there's a reason why we gave her that title. She's gonna say things that we're just not gonna resonate with us. You know, for me personally, when she mentioned the whole bonnet thing, like, oh, you know, I'm standing 10 toes down on that. Me personally, I don't wear bonnets. I don't like it, but I understand the importance of a bonnet, especially when it comes to black hair care. I understand the importance of wearing it. Like I said, I personally don't like to wear it in public, but I'm never going to police another black woman and tell her not to wear it. We've been policed in society enough. So sometimes when we hear Monique and we hear all the older greats say things like this, yes, it's good to hold them accountable and let them know, like, hey, you know, But at the end of the day, they set in their ways. You just gotta look at them the way you look at that one auntie that says homophobic stuff and just be like, you know what? Yeah, you'll never learn. You should learn, but you're never going to. So moving on. Now let's get to the real meat and potatoes. Monique had so much tea to spill about Oprah, about Tyler Perry. Oh my God, about Kevin Hart. Jesus, where the fuck do I want to begin? As I've mentioned before, this is we're in the age of Aquarius, and I've always in the past given Tyler Perry the side eye. I have. And when all this stuff was happening to Monique, when she was speaking out against the injustice she faced, when Precious came out and how she was treated. Looking at it back then, I was too young to understand. But looking at it now and how hearing Taraji talk about the treatment that she got on the set of Color Purple, it just makes me realize, like, all these people that are just so elite and people who some of us, even as little Black girls, aspired to be. It seems to me like once they reach this level of like fame and wealth, because fame doesn't exactly equate to wealth, right? It's like they can't be touched. And it's like because they have this type of power, and they may not even intentionally be abusing the power, but because they have it, there's just somebody gets hurt, somebody gets treated in such a terrible way. And it's so sad that it was Monique. It shouldn't have been anybody, to be quite honest. But, you know, Monique is talented. She is funny. And the fact that she spoke about not just the way she was treated by Tyler and Oprah and Lee Daniels, who did apologize to her, but the fact that she also mentioned the original queens of comedy and how they were treated. Monique strikes me as somebody who's been screaming this shit for years. It didn't just start with Precious. She started from way before. The original queens of comedy, can you believe that the kings, they all got their own limousines, and when it came to the queens, they had to stay in one limo. They all had to share one. And I'm so glad that Monique stood up for that. I'm so glad. Like, she was like, no, all the kings got Rolexes, and she some more, none of the queens got any of that. That's crazy to me. And I like I said, I can't thank Monique any more, you know? I think that we need more people like Monique that's been in the industry, that's not afraid to expose. You know, we need more. We don't just need Cat Williams, we need more people. And to be quite honest, I don't want to put all of the blame on just specific Black elites. I think that a lot of people that are in this elite and that contribute to the elite policy have this mentality. It's fucking crazy. And I think the most hurtful thing is hearing how Kevin Hart, you know, he claimed he knows Tyler Perry, and he did follow through by reaching out to him when he found out that he spread a rumor about Monique. And for those of you who don't know what the rumor was that Monique was difficult to work with, which cost her tens of millions of dollars, put her out of work, literally blackballed her from Hollywood. So Kevin Hart decided to call Tyler Perry about it. There's been maybe two or three people that called Tyler Perry. It's three people, actually. It was Al Sharpton, another woman named Stephanie Mills, and Kevin Hart. Now, like I said, with Kevin Hart, he called Monique and told her, like, listen, I spoke to him. He doesn't want to revisit it, but let's move on. You know, whatever project you're working on, I want to executive produce it. I want to help you. I want to help you. Now, as Monique mentioned, Kevin Hart was by far one of the most established entertainers, comedians at the time, and somewhat still is to this day. And this would have been a really good boost for Monique, a great helping hand on top of the help that he already provided for her. The fact that 2 weeks later, his management team calls up her team and tells them Kevin Hart wants nothing to do with her. And when she confronts him about it and he says, no, that is a miscommunication, that was the last time she heard from him. And that to me is so hurtful, because you of all people knew what she was going through financially. You sat there, you heard the recording she had of Tyler Perry, as she's played for many other people, and no one is coming to this woman's aid when they could. Wheels can be greased, strings can be pulled, and nothing is happening for this woman. That's why all she has is her truth, and she's standing in it. And I have to respect her for that. I definitely do. And I feel like, as I've mentioned before, a lot of these Hollywood gatekeepers are going to be exposed. And it's sad because, like I said, a lot of these Hollywood gatekeepers, black people that are in these realms of wealth and prestige, a lot of us aspire to be like them, not really realizing who they are behind closed doors. You know, you think it's all glitz and glamour, and it's really not. It's actually, yeah. And I want to end on this, right? I keep mentioning how proud I am of Monique for speaking her truth and standing on business. I want to talk about why it's so important. As black people, especially as someone in Monique's stature, she mentioned the truth. I am a dark-skinned, fat, black woman. I am not the right messenger for all of this. Because people that look like Monique are ignored. They are. No matter how long and how loud they may be, they're ignored. They're pushed to the side. And I feel like unless people start speaking the truth about what's going on, you're only leaving room for it to be done to somebody else. And it's going to continue, and it's going to get worse. And even she mentioned it. If I didn't speak out, she said she spoke to Taraji 10 years prior to this in her trailer during her filming of the Monique show. She spoke to Taraji. Taraji had the mindset we got to keep on going until we get it. But Monique been talking, Monique been speaking out. So this wouldn't happen to Taraji. And because she was ignored, it eventually happened to Taraji. And God knows how many other black actors and actresses. Taraji talking about, we didn't get really good trailers. The trailers we had were subpar. Monique talking about her trailers blew up. And she was speaking out since then. So honestly, Age of Aquarius, I'm going to sit back right now. I'm filming. I'm also in school. I'm also working. Work. I have a lot on my plate. But what I will say this year, and I forgot to mention, I'm also planning a fucking wedding. Hello. I have a lot on my plate this year. But I will tell you one thing I will do also. I'm going to sit back and watch, because this is just the beginning. I think that Shannon Sharpe is going to be a very busy man, because everybody going to want to speak their piece. And you know what killed me in the interview, right? Monique was like, you should invite these people back onto your show. And Shannon's like, they ain't gonna want to come back. They ain't gonna want to come back after what you said. They ain't gonna want to. She was like, invite them. Invite them. And let me tell you something. Shannon, you're going to be very busy, because everybody's going to want a piece of the pie. You're going to be busy. It's going to be a productive year for Shannon Sharpe, and it's going to be a productive year for Hollywood, because they are going to be scrambling. It's going to be a very productive year for entertainment, because they are going to be scrambling. And what we are watching, ladies and gentlemen, is the changing of the guard. Stay tuned. It's going to be something. Anyway, this has been your girl, Ebony. from We Ain't Them 1/4. Look out for more stuff, more content, more videos like this. And if you are enjoying our content, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you. Mwah. Have a productive week.